Hello students and welcome to my channel Maths Hub. So today in this video, I'll talk about the logical connectors implication. So before this video, do watch the other logical operators like conjunction, disjunction and negation operator. So let us understand what is the meaning of the conditional operator implication. So when we are talking about implication, it says that if there are two proposition statements P and Q, then the conditional statement P implies Q. It is the proposition if P then Q, right? So conditional operator, it is a one-way condition that if P is there, then Q will be done, right? So now in this conditional statement P implies Q, the first statement that is P is called the hypothesis or the antecedent or the premise, and Q is called the conclusion or the consequence, right? So in some books you may find that P is called the premise and Q is called the conclusion, and in others you may find the word hypothesis and conclusion written there, right? So now let us understand this conditional operator with the help of an example. So a conditional statement is also sometimes called as implication. So let's take an example. The example says the first proposition P is I am elected, and the second proposition Q is I will lower the taxes. So P implies Q becomes if I am elected, then I will lower the taxes, right? So that means if this condition holds, only then I will lower the taxes, right? So now let us understand the truth table of implication. So for the truth table of implication, our input is variable proposition P and our other input is the proposition statement Q and our output is P implies Q. So in this case, what happens is that when both the statements are false, then the implication always implies true. When the first statement P is true and the second statement Q is false, then P implies Q will be false. And then if the first statement is false and the second statement is true, then also it will be false, it will be true. And if both the statements are true, then also it will be true. That means if the statement P is either false or true, then Q, if it is true, then the implication will always be true. That means if Q is fixed, if Q is a true statement, irrespective of P, the statement P implies Q will always be true, right? So the conditional statement is false only in the case when P is true and Q is false. It is true otherwise, right? So now let us try to understand this implication table, the truth table, with the help of the first example that I quoted in the last slide, right? So now let us take the same statement. P, I am elected, and Q, I will lower the taxes. Now, what is the truth table implying, right? So let us take the first case number one. So case number one, I'm taking P as a false statement and Q also as a false statement, right? If P is false, that means I am not selected. I am not elected, not right? Not selected. I'm not elected. And Q is false means I will not lower the taxes. Okay. So now, if these are the statements, then what will P implies Q? Now, what is our argument? That if I am elected, only then I will lower the taxes, right? So if I'm not elected, I will not lower the taxes, isn't it? So this is quite obvious that if I do not get elected, I will also not lower the taxes. So what should it be? Should it be a true statement or should it be a false statement? It is true that it is okay. The condition was that if I get elected, only then I will lower the taxes. So if I'm not elected, obviously I will not lower the taxes. So it is true statement, right? So now let's take up the second case number two, when P is a true statement and Q is a false statement. That means I am elected and I will not lower the taxes, right? That means I cheated the people, isn't it? If I got elected and I still am not lowering the taxes, that means what will P implies Q? It should be a false statement. That means I've cheated, right? Now let's take up the third case, case number 3, when P is a false statement and Q is a true statement. That means I am not elected. I am not elected, but and Q is a true statement, so I will lower the taxes. So in this case, what happens is that though I got not elected, but still I will lower the taxes. That means there is some blessing, and I didn't get elected, but still I lowered the taxes. That means the argument is satisfied. So P implies Q is a true statement. And the last case, case number 4. Case number 4 says that P is a true statement and Q is also a true statement, right? That means I am elected and I am lowering the taxes also. I will lower the taxes. That means this is the actual argument that if I got elected, I will lower the taxes. That means P implies Q should always be true. That means it is only coming out to be false when P is true and Q is false. In rest of all the cases, P implies Q is always true, right? So I think now the implication truth table is clear with the help of this example. So I will also focus on another example so that you get this topic. So now let us take the second example. When you try hard for your exam, this is the first proposition. And the second proposition is you will succeed, right? So now, and the proposition, the argument is that if you try hard for your exam, then you will succeed, right? So now the first case is when P is false and Q is also a false statement. Now when P is false, that means you did not try hard for your exam, right? So you did not try hard for your exam. And what will be the statement Q when Q is a false statement? That you did not succeed. Obviously, you failed, right? So you did not succeed. Now, what will be then P implies Q? If you try hard, only then you will succeed, right? So if you did not try hard for your exam, you did not succeed. So isn't it true? That is quite obvious, right? Now the second case, case number 2, when P is a true statement and Q is a false statement. That means you tried hard for your exam and false statement, you did not succeed. Though you try hard for your exam, but still you did not succeed. That means what should be P implies Q? P implies Q will then become a false statement because if you try hard, then you will automatically succeed, right? And now case 3 is when P is a false statement and Q is a true statement, right? So you did not try hard for your exam, but you succeeded. So that means you had blessings of God. So you did not try hard, but still you succeeded. So our argument is satisfied, right? So P implies Q is a true statement. And the fourth case, when both the statements are true. So P is also a true statement and Q is also a true statement. So you tried hard, you succeeded. So P implies Q is again a true statement, right? So again, in this case, you are getting only false answer, false implication when P is true and Q is false, right? Okay. So now you can try this practice problem with the help of these statements and you can see that is the truth table implying the same. The first statement P is you get A++ grade in final exams and Q is you will be awarded a trophy. And P implies Q is if you get A++ grade in the final exam, then you will be awarded a trophy. So do try it and let me know in the comment section that whether you were able to solve it or not, right? And now let us move on to one more example. So we have the statement A as a programming homework is due and statement B is it is Tuesday. So what will be A implies B? So A implies B will be, if a programming homework is due, then it must be Tuesday, right? So now, is it the same if I ask you that is B implies A also same? So what will be B implies A? That if it is Tuesday, then a programming homework is due. So they are not same, right? So A implies B is not same as B implies A, right? Okay. So thank you so much for listening to me. So if you like the video, do hit the like button. And those of you who haven't subscribed my channel, do subscribe my channel to get the latest updated video. And follow the next video for biconditional operator. Have a nice day and thank you so much.